everyone. I'm taking this opportunity to discuss the current progress I have on the educational botanical content I have planned on making as a hobby. I've decided that the first topic to be explored is lichen, specifically focusing on its anatomy, physiology, and internal ecology. I was initially trying to plan out a lecture-style video, but I was struggling to figure out the order of my topics. My general idea was to go from big to small, starting with overarching concepts of what lichen was in its overall form, and then gradually going more detailed as we discussed the smaller and smaller pieces that make up its structure. But this approach still needed further organizing, since I had to decide if I group information based on each overall morphology a lichen can have, or focusing on the different symbionts and the structures they're involved in. It's also knotted and complex. I didn't know how to go about untangling the mess of ideas. So for now, I'm taking a different approach, one that I hope will result in a quality end product. So there I was, pondering the best way to communicate difficult information in a way that would be engaging for an audience that doesn't really have any background knowledge on the topic at hand, and while half asleep one night, it came to me. A sci-fi horror story. I'll use the creative freedoms of fiction and engaging allure of a well-performed story to draw in an audience, and keep them seated as I sprinkle in tidbits of scientifically accurate information about lichen. The goal of the story will be to explore the different symbionts that make up a lichen and illustrate the benefits and costs that they face in the lichenization process. See, not all parts of a lichen are equally benefited nor dependent on the lichenized form that they take. The main fungi that forms the thallus, for example, is much more dependent on forming a lichen structure, since it captures and uses the photobionts to produce sugars and nitrogen for it, and also needs to be in the lichenized form in order to reproduce. On the other hand, green algae with the ability to lichenize have a facultative relationship with the process, which goes to say that they can become a lichen, but is not required for their survival. They are not dependent on the process and are even showed to be put under osmotic stress, meaning they feel like they are drying out. Some scientists go as far as to describe the relationship as more of a parasitism, where the algae is the prisoner of the fungi rather than an equal partner in symbiosis. These inconsistencies and speculations make me believe that crafting a good story would both be a fun exercise in creativity, but also allows me to show the viewer how drastically different someone's worldview or reaction to scenarios can be, purely based on their difference in perspective. I'll be labeling this project under sci-fi horror due to the loads of biological knowledge I want to weave into the narrative, the inherent fiction of giving personalities and human-like personhood to single-celled microorganisms, and the horror shall be from the way everything is presented, particularly language that alludes to body horror on the part of the photobionts, and psychological/cosmic horror through the way the lichen organism as a whole will be performed later on in the story. I'll be posting videos periodically to discuss the process of me creating this story and talk about the different topics and elements as I work through them. The next batch of videos, probably in short form style, will be on the character sheets I create on the different characters of my story. I'll be reverse engineering each symbiont's personality from how they have been observed to behave, both in nature and in lab experiments. You'll see what I mean by this in those videos once they come out. But this is all I have for this video. Just wanted to do a little bit of a pitch for the idea I've been cooking up the last couple months, and to show that I'm actually making progress on the goals I set in the last video. But until next time, goodbye.